Ladies and gentlemen, Garrett DiBartolomeo. Correct my pronunciation and action.
I thought you were going to give more of an intro than that. No, my ASMP history, Shelley, is I actually started the photo career in Phoenix. I'm from the area here, but moved out there, and after starting another business in the DC area, and there we did design and woodworking and signs, that sort of thing, and decided I want to go into photography full time. So I went out to Phoenix. Things were booming. Was a good place to kind of start things up. Did it on a shoestring. That must sound familiar to everybody. Yeah, to a shoestring, meaning like making my own business cards and that sort of thing as I first started out. And joined ASMP there in 1984, actually. And they had a nice chapter there, big chapter, very active, fairly new, as opposed to the Eastern chapters. And was doing things like programs and that out there, and was fairly involved. And back then we had a lot of money, and I got to do things like ride around all day with Jay Maisel, who I had come in for a meeting. And it was, and of course it was easier to get people come out there because everybody wanted to go to Phoenix in, the middle of the winter. So I did some stills on a movie. Well, in Phoenix, I ended up working a lot with law people, medical people. The way I got the business started out there was, again, not that much promotion money. So I used to go to breakfast meetings and lunch meetings with AIGA and just various business groups. And then I ended up doing some of their newsletters, the photos for it, and just for credit lines. And that's the way I got my name out there. And I hated breakfast meetings. I don't feel like talking to anybody at 7 o'clock in the morning. And that's what they did out there because it was so hot, and everybody went to work at 8. But that was one way to get started on less than being able to buy workbook pages. So things went okay out there, and little by little, because it was kind of a booming place, it was a little easier to get work. And then I did stills on a movie in Pittsburgh in the late 80s, and had been thinking about coming back this way, still had a lot of family and friends. And there was not an ASMP chapter here then. So that was in the early 90s when we started the Pittsburgh chapter. And because of the experience I had out in Phoenix, I think there were only a couple of us who were ASMP members back then. Jim Schaefer, Toby Seeger, but there was not a chapter here. So we started a chapter. And again, sitting around Paul Savaggio's studio the night that the first Gulf War started was when we put the chapter together. We have a constitution and everything else. We made all that up. And almost everybody in town joined. The big shooters, people who weren't joiners. It was really pretty successful. And Archie's going to post some pictures of the original newsletters that we did, mostly back in the 90s. And it's really a history of Pittsburgh photography. We put a members list in every newsletter so you could see who were members. And we also had a lot of advertisers, and you can see all the labs and just all service providers, even couriers and people like that who carry things around town. So we were founding board members. I was a past president, and then left it off to people like Archie and Elliot and Shelley to make things work here. and now, and I think they're doing a great job, by the way. So I've been in ASMP for that long. I'm a big supporter of it as far as believing that it has a lot of not just use, but very important use for the industry. Things that we individuals would never do. And of course, the best thing about it is getting photographers together in the first place to talk at meetings, talk at board meetings, people you would see. You know, we used to run into each other at the labs, and that does not happen anymore. So, but it was great to see another ASMP member at the labs and know who they were and get tips and who's using what and where do you get, you know, background paper and everything else. I think that's probably enough of the history of that. If anybody had any questions, you can either ask now or later. But we've seen a lot of growth in Pittsburgh, things that people did not think were going to last here for photographers. And yet these guys have been able to carry it through into 2020. And that's pretty much my history too on it. And I'll show you some early things here that.
Very nice.
Okay, so this, some of this is from when I was traveling earlier, but these are the kind of shots that really got me interested and hooked on photography. And some have proved pretty useful too. I'll show you the use one happened, but just with the stocks houses and all. So these are just from various places. If anybody wants to take a little longer, go back, just holler out, and I'll just go through these. These are all black and white in the beginning here. And of course, this was film and probably Tri-X. Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of them are Tri-X, 400 speed film for you digital.
I'm guessing Italy?
Those were, that is Italy. This was Spain.
Okay.
This was
Wow.
Spain.
That's incredible.
This was England.
Looks like it. Nice.
England and Hyde Park.
Mm.
This was just the angles of the tree and the angles of the person lying there.
Hey, Garen, could you go back to the arches image?
Sure,
Mm.
sure.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, I want to print that.
I do too.
God, I love that.
Everything is so curvilinear.
It's all arches.
Well, and you know, this is film, and they're right between the two arches. There was some sort of bad part on the negative. I think it was just a bad negative. It wasn't really a scratch. I tried to retouch it by hand, of course, back then, semi-successfully, but digitally I was able to really take care of it pretty easily. So that smoothed out the entire picture there.
I love it. I love it.
I love it. You know, there's still a little bit of detail in all those highlights. And of course, the composition is just fabulous.
I just like the repeating arches.
Yeah, the leading lines, everything, just wow.
Thank
Such
you.
a strong, strong image.
Thanks. This, I liked, you know, actually, I don't know if you have something covering your top there, but the guy has a handkerchief in his hand. Mine is getting covered, but.
Yeah, what is the view options?
Oh yeah, I can't see the handkerchief. I don't see his upper hand.
Just a teeny bit of it.
View options. Let's go to
It's a window. It should be
original
fitting.
size. There we go. You got view options up there. Just have them either go to 100% or 150%.
Let's see, that would be,
Uh,
Yeah, that's up to each individual.
Yeah, each individual can do that.
oh, okay.
It's next to the green box. It says view options. Then the drop-down menu will allow you to go to different magnifications.
Yeah, if you go to original size or fit the window.
150 looks pretty nice.
Yeah,
Well, it's,
Fit the window crops that thing off. the top of the image.
Yeah, well, but 100, I mean, but original size doesn't. It's
Now-
good.
Okay, okay, you're right.
I'll
Well-
edit all this out of the video. Don't worry.
Hey, we're making this up as we go along.
Yeah, that's for sure the way.
So this is the news. This is a handkerchief.
Yeah, up at the top, the man on the left has a handkerchief, a white handkerchief that he's
Gotcha.
using.
Oh, are we supposed to see his hand or just a hint of the handkerchief?
Just a handkerchief, actually. It's kind of falling down.
It's like a
See
little
this cuff.
on his coat,
Um,
or the cuff on his coat.
yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Can someone tell me how I can get that full image again?
Up next, there's a green box at the top. There's this thing, a black box says view options.
Take your cursor up to the top of your screen.
Okay, I'm on an iPhone, but
I don't know if you'll have it on an iPhone. I'm on it.
okay.
Change your view option to
Okay, I'll find it.
original size or 150, whatever.
Okay,
It may not have that option on the phone.
right. Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't
Don't
remember
worry.
seeing this line or this box up there before. Okay, let me go back to here then. See if my cursor works now. Okay, so this one, I just like the contrast on it and the comparison between the tree and the man. This was just, a tinker with his back toward me and just that shadow of the tree. And then I know when I looked at this on a negative after the fact, because I'd been traveling a bit, I couldn't figure out what this was. Because, there's the white was black, the black was white, and all of that.
I could see that being confusing.
Great shadows.
Yeah, I like the way the shadows come on the sheets and the
Right.
white.
Are these
I like the way the tree is radiating out of the person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And right in the crotch of the tree. Yeah, I know.
Right.
He never, or she, I think it's a she, never saw me really.
are these like photos of prints, or did you scan these?
I scanned these. I scanned photos for these.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't really produced these digitally yet, Dave. I had negatives. I've printed negatives, and I used to print myself, of course.
Yeah.
But that was the best way to just get everything up here in a hurry.
I wondered because I've had some success with that Nick filter suite, and their black and white converter is just amazing.
Well, it was not easy to do this with film from an enlarger,
Yeah.
trying to, get a little bit of detail in the sheets and the white, and then and yet keep the shadows going without making everything just too dark.
Yep.
Not a zone system shot, I take
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I should have underexposed and overexposed.
Overdeveloped. Overexposed and underdeveloped.
This is a shot that did go on to other things here, and I'll show you in a second. But this is Italy, actually. And then this
Talking to
shot,
somebody inside the door.
yeah, he's talking to someone there who's not out since it is raining. But I do like the light on the umbrella, just that gradation there, and of course just the way the road curves. So this, I used to have these shots with a stock house, Swan stock. They handled, it wasn't like, quite so commercial as some of the others. And they handled things like this. They were actually out of Tucson. And so this one ended up on a book cover.
Oh, neat.
And I just looked up this book
Neat.
again, and it's still in print, although they have a different picture on there now.
Wow.
Is Swan not in existence anymore? You're referring to it in the past tense.
It's Mary Virginia Swanson.
Oh, yeah. Swanee. I know
Yeah,
Swanee.
she used to have Swan Stock. It closed down.
Oh,
But she is still consulting and doing some things like that. Yeah.
cool.
It was a nice house. It was very personal, you know. And again, it's not like calling up Getty today. You could actually talk to somebody when you called in.
Yeah.
So I was happy, you know, things like this happened. It gave me a little bit more incentive to keep going.
Hey, Garen,
Uh-huh.
did you ever have anything at Dave Cull's place, Viewfinder?
No, I haven't shown too much in Pittsburgh. I had some shows in DC, and then I had a show last year in Parkersburg, which that was a solo show. So
Dave
that
was a stock house.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It was called Viewfinder, and he was in John Sanderson's studio.
Oh, okay. No, I don't really. The name sounds familiar, Mark, but I didn't have anything. With
Unfortunately, he's passed on, but he and John and I all went to school together.
Well, one of the problems with all of my pictures and all of these ones I'm going to show you tonight is that they really have not much continuity unless you can, you know, unless you kind of get your mind going in the right direction. And galleries in particular, and any even book publishers and all, they want a series. They want, you know, they want 10 or 20 pictures of basically, if not the same thing, you know, maybe it's roadside taverns, maybe it's, you know, old cars, whatever it is, they want many pictures of on a similar theme. And none of mine really fit into that. And you'll see some of these color ones that I also show. They're just here and there. So it's a little tough to get people to, you know, go toward this. But there's been some people that recognize what I think is there. And this one actually won an award in LA for APA out there. They like.
Wow.
And of course, the story on this is this scene was just there in front of me, but the glass was standing up with ice and drink in it. And I wanted to spill the water. So I pushed the glass over and the glass broke. And I was just water.
Oh, I pictured her having fallen asleep holding it, and it had fallen and broken.
Well, it does follow that theme. Yeah, I was lucky.
You were.
Okay, I think we're going to some color now. These are promos that I put out, sometimes around the holidays to people, sometimes other times. They're all color. They're mostly all colorful too. So this was, and again, some of these are in different places. This is Paris. Just Paris in the rain. And
Nice.
Every Christmas they arrive in a 5x7 mat, and again, I feel very lucky to get one every year. Thank you.
I want to be on the list.
Thanks, Arch. I don't know about lucky, but yeah, people do tend to keep them. It's an unusual way to do promos. I've realized this from the first day. Again, promos are usually your work that you know, some job you've done and you want to show people models or something like that. But it's fun to go into like an art director's place, which of course we never do anymore, but and they'll have one of these on their, you know, on their desk or on their bulletin board. And that doesn't mean they gave me any work, but they like the photos.
Good enough to not trash it.
Yeah, yeah, and they ended up keeping them. So yeah, this woman's smoking out there. I think you can see that. And she, of course, didn't know I was there.
It's like somebody I know, but
Mm.
This
Wow.
just really a series, you know, just a study on curves and reflections and all of that. And a sailboat out there.
yeah. I like the
Looks like
color.
the sound in Seattle.
This is on Lake Champlain. But yeah, I have one coming up in Seattle. Yeah.
Love
and it
that.
certainly could be there. But I like how down at the bottom where
You-
they have the holes for
Yeah.
water escaping, and they match all the other curves. And then this curve was, I think the car was like I don't know, a Scion or something like that had that curvy hood like that.
Looks like the hood of a Volkswagen.
I don't even know, you know, and I was on this boat. I didn't have my camera with me, and I saw this, and I actually went back and got my camera, came back down again.
Wow.
Fortunately,
Wow.
everything was still there.
Here's your useless word of the day. Those holes at the bottom are scuppers.
Okay.
Oh,
The area where water rolls off the deck under the railing.
yeah.
At first glance, to me, it looked like a reflection. I had to look at it twice to pick that up.
Right.
I don't know if anybody else saw that. I thought it was a reflection at first.
Well, and there's plenty of reflections in here on the
Well,
car.
I just like the tone family. You know,
I
everything.
do.
It's not color, but it's all at one time.
I love this so much. I would love to see this big. There's an artist in Canada. He's like probably one of the most famous artists that ever came out of Canada. His name's Alex Colville, and he did things like this. And this really reminds me of his art.
I'm so glad you like them, Shelley.
Oh, and I love Alex Colville. I mean, his stuff is so expensive. I could never afford it, but
Well, when I did the show last year, I had pretty much all of these that we're looking at made into 20 by 30s and then framed out the 30 by 40.
Wow.
no kidding. So do you still have these framed?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
did they all sell?
Oh, no.
Okay, we'll have to
No,
talk.
It was
Talking
It
deal
was-
here.
it was an exercise in spending money is what it was. But of
Oh,
course-
sort of like a boat.
yeah, exactly. But, well, maybe I was going to say not so much satisfaction, but maybe a little more satisfaction, Dave. Let's go. Let's see this one. Yeah, this one. This is part of a show I had, and I think it's on my website called Two Hotels.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was I just contrasted a hotel, well, the Greenbrier down in West Virginia, which is
I love that place.
colorful and absurd. Think of The Shining with flowers. But,
Yes. Not
then-
like the Stanley.
Right. And then this one was a hotel out in California, which was just sparse as anything, and you know, sunny and palms and that sort of thing. So there's a series of them on the website. But I like that. That's my wife there in the background.
And okay, so how did you create the morning light in the bathroom, or I guess that's incandescent light? And
Yeah,
then
sure.
you have the natural light coming in. So how is that just natural two-tone, or did you do something in camera? How did you create that? That's really
No,
great.
This is all natural, and I think
Uh-huh.
probably all of these. If I come across one that isn't, I'll let you know. But
Okay.
I work a lot in natural light, and
Mhm.
it doesn't bother me a bit to have different colors, and I really like warm light.
Yeah.
You know, if things aren't warm enough, I'll warm them up. But and this is, I prefer just natural light, and I find it really pretty satisfying to show what you want to show. You know, there's some.
It looks like daylight film that was just exposed, you know,
Yeah.
for daylight.
Yeah,
For one or the other.
yeah, I'm sure it was daylight film, and
So I've got a question. The rings or the earrings, are those just haphazardly placed because she took that off before she washed her face or went to bed? Or did you kind of make it look like that? Just curious.
yeah, no, I think that's a reasonable question, and it also brings up the fact that I really don't manipulate any of these.
Uh-huh.
I'll try to think as I look at them of anything I actually even moved, like a chair or something like that.
Yeah.
Generally not. These were just here, you know, from washing up before going to bed kind of thing.
Right.
and that you can see there's water on the top. And
Right.
I'm not a big believer in touching certain things up.
Right. No, it just adds to the value that it's so realistic.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you see that.
Not that if you had manipulated it, it wouldn't take away, but you just get extra bonus points for seeing that.
Extra bonus points.
That's good. I could use a gold star, Shelley.
Well, you got
Oh, I love the reflection.
This was
Nice.
another found scene in a hotel down in Florida, actually. And, of course, the attraction is the reflection on that piano and the way
Right.
it just distorts it a little bit and
Yep.
everything else there in the back.
Ripples. Mm.
This was a little tough to print because of, outside, inside kind of thing. But that's where it did help.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have such a great eye here.
I tend to do a lot more horizontals than verticals, but there's several verticals in this group that I picked up here. And then again, this is a whole different direction. This is just a detail on this just beautiful satin.
Soft.
Yeah. And I didn't touch this either.
You just saw it.
I have pictures covering my right side. I don't know if you all do or not, but there's just a little bit of detail on the right-hand side there that I've felt like it added to it as opposed to getting that out of there. This was actually in Boston, just through a window glass, a restaurant walking by.
Right.
And that's what the reflection is to the right-hand side there. It's just reflection on the window. Sometimes I wish I had a polarizing lens with me, but I didn't. So, but I'm kind of liking some of this reflection. There's one other one coming up that has that same reflection, same sort of reflection in it, window reflection. But this one is called Nature. And it just seemed a little, I don't know, idiosyncratic with, the lush tablecloths and napkins. And here it is, this little flower here. And this is very close to the window.
I have a question. So when I went on your website, are these photos on your website?
No, these aren't.
You're not. Okay, because I remember seeing maybe one that you've showed. I remember you reading the hotel series, but there wasn't a lot of these on your website.
No, I really need to change,
You do, because these are incredible.
Well, if I get that reaction, then I'll probably get around to it, Shelley.
Yeah.
well. The other question is, what are you trying to do with the website? Are you trying to show art shots to people? Are you trying, generate things that clients want to see?
Well, Dave, I had that. I know Elliot's has been working with Caroline. Caroline. And she gets mad if you call her the wrong thing. But the website was kind of a combination of both of these things. When we did this, we had a big discussion, and Caroline's working usually, used to working with people who are in the middle of their career and very anxious to proceed with that and advance that. And I was somewhere between that and wanting to show pictures like this, and get jobs that included pictures like this.
Right.
And there are jobs out there that do that, and there are ones that I've done. I think there's a couple on the website. Those are some black and whites that, train yard and a couple of other things that, just a bit out of the ordinary. Oh, some people and I shouldn't talk about them because I'm not showing them now. But if you look at those, people getting reflected in a big glass in a construction site, that sort of thing. But that was the work I was after. And it was hard to kind of get that across to her because she kept saying, well, there's not that many of those jobs. And my take was, but when there is, I want to be on the list,
I want to be the first call.
Yeah, well, at least one of the calls, And so that was a topic of discussion with her, and that's how the website kind of morphed into the way it does. I at first was a little hesitant to put some of these up because, again, just theft, but now I'm probably ready to go ahead and put them up, knowing a little more, being able to control resolution. I do use Digimark to, invisibly watermark everything, and I think that's a good idea no matter what you do. And so it's time. Yeah, it's time for me to put these up. And if people are getting pleasure from it, that's really, that's really my goal right now.
Good.
This is a bit of a weird shot, a window blind in front. This is Paris. And I shouldn't show you, I have pictures from the US too. It's not like I only take pictures when I'm out of the country, but it does stimulate you, and you see different things and all of that. So to me, and this one was a little tough to print too, because trying to get the outside to come in a little bit, but there was just so much going on beyond the window blind there that.
So Garen, you printed all these?
I did not print all these. Roy printed a lot of these for my show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and these were digital too. So
Okay.
yeah, the first ones we had were film. This I actually used for the object show for a rope.
That's why it looked familiar.
Yeah, because of the trim around the chairs and all of that. And this was a little restaurant that I stopped in, and that shot, this shot here, it was there for just a minute until somebody came in and sat down right in that chair, and that was it. So, but I do like the lushness of it. I do like the red. And again, no manipulation, no other light, just natural light. What was going on? You'll see some that are, blown out a little bit, especially in the last series I'll show you, because those were not really lit at all. This is my nephew's boys. They were jumping off a big rock. And again,
Oh boy.
you need to have access to the whole screen on these, which I don't right now. I have pictures, your guys' pictures over there. But you can see the second boy over there on the right-hand side, kind of watching his big brother.
Yeah. If you go up to the top where all the thumbnails of people are, and click the thing on the far left,
Okay.
we'll get rid of all the thumbnails.
Okay, I did do that. I like seeing people's reaction, but yeah, that's better. Okay. I don't know. This was just, Thanksgiving kind of time and winter, and it really struck me. And these kids, they were already doing it. All I did was run up with my camera.
Are they twins or just close?
No, there's 3 years difference.
Okay.
This is basically my version of architectural photography. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, I know why, because it's already on automatic. There. Okay, so just details. This again was out the window. This is what that blue stripe is there on the left. Reflection in the window that I was shooting out of. This is up at the Butler Museum, actually, in Youngstown, just out a window. So there's all that beautiful stuff inside, and I'm looking out windows at AC stuff. A friend of mine did not like this picture because he's an HVAC guy, and he said, I see this stuff all the time. But, I just like the way things went together, and the composition of this, the colors. This was a restaurant in Paris again, and this was one of my favorite shots here. It's it's a little soft, handheld, and in a dark restaurant.
And it works great, man. It works great. I love it.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's on your website.
Is it? Okay.
If it were sharp, I wouldn't like it.
Well,
Seriously.
it does show a lot going on. I don't know if you guys are seeing that, but shows a lot going on behind her. And I do like it that, her face is hidden and just the angle, her collarbone. There's just a lot of stuff going on there.
Nothing set up here. You just saw her.
Nothing. No, I was sitting at a table there and I just turned. You see her hand down there on her knee,
Yeah.
waving at the bottom right?
Yeah,
It's just-
it almost looks like you posed her that way.
Well, there's a lot of movement in it without having any movement, It's
Right,
one of those-
right.
I wonder if
It's too perfect to have just happened.
It just happened.
Yeah, are people in Paris that work in restaurants actors that haven't made it yet?
These were two sisters, and I don't think she didn't know I was shooting this in particular. But I do like this. This was another promo that I sent out. This one is actually from Japan, and there's a big lobby to my left and behind me, as you can see, reflected in that granite wall. And this is part of a series I did it was called Sitting in Japan. And this was the only one that had some people in it, although they're hard to see. But, it looks like noise, it looks like grain, just because of the way the granite is reflecting everybody. But again, I really like this one.
Were you in Japan for work or for pleasure?
Pardon?
Oh, were you in Japan for a specific job or just a vacation?
No, this was pleasure. And there was that giant painting over top of it too. Again, a lot going on here. My favorite kind of photos are ones that you have to look at them for a while to see everything that's happening. This is also Japan, just walking down the street. Those are seats, chairs in the foreground there. And the colors they were just there in the windows of some building. I forget what building it was. And then I like how, the openings on the chair show yet a different color coming in through that. And I think this is the last of the promos that I'm showing here tonight. This is Seattle. Somebody mentioned Seattle before, and that's Seattle across the way there. But I'm real fond of this one too. And again, just natural light, but it looks like somebody lit those stairs,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, maybe
Beautiful.
diffuser, and then you got more light up on top.
Gels, yeah, going. And this was film?
This was digital. No, this was just a few years ago.
Handheld? Was this handheld?
This was handheld. Everything's handheld.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, you're taking a chance putting them up to 20 by 30, but most of them work that way. That's one thing I love about digital. I have no compunction to crank that ISO up to 3200 or whatever. It's such a benefit from film where, we actually, and I've done that, take a roll of film out mid-roll, but not too far, so that you could put a different ASA in to shoot something and then put the other one back in, remembering where you left off.
By the time you did that, the shot was over. You would have missed this.
yeah. But that's the way it was, and probably my favorite thing about digital is just being able to get all these different scenes with one camera, with really quickly being able to change things.
But you used to take the film on right on the leader, how many frames you shot.
Yeah,
you never did that. I used to do that.
And that not more than once did you double expose at least a couple of frames too, because as you were trying and and film costs whatever, $10 or $15 a roll and more to process it. And you didn't want to waste any,
Yeah.
even for work.
Again, the softness of this image makes it really plays to its strength, I think.
Good. Yeah, and of course we're on a boat and the boat's moving, you know.
Yeah, the water's moving, the sky's real soft.
So the other thing that I put together was, and this is fairly recent, this was back in January, was up in New York, flying out of JFK, and got a chance, had a big layover, so I had a chance to go over to the JFK, or the TWA terminal, which is now a hotel. And that's what this is. So this is just an establishing shot. This is what it looks like to walk up to it. This is 1962 that it was built. Eero Saarinen put this thing together. It's just like, it's like walking into a funhouse / museum, as you'll see here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Oh, wow.
This was actually the terminal, TWA terminal, that they ran out of up there. And this is now not used as a terminal at all. When we were there, they were having functions there. People were coming in for bar mitzvahs and everything. And then there are these long tubes that lead over to the hotel. So they really just built a completely different building for the hotel. But this is what is in existence. And they redid it, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, something like, maybe a little longer. But they cleaned it all up, and you get to just wander around this building, this fantastic building. And the whole theme is red and white. If there's any color, that's red and white. And all the background there is tile, but little penny rounds. They're about the size of a penny, and anything that's not colored or stucco is penny rounds.
Wow.
It's a fun place to shoot. That's a bar. This is what I was telling you. They did get kind of blown out, but I didn't have control over that. I tried to tone it down a bit, but didn't want to mess with too much of the other. But everything is arches and curves and colors, and
Very few straight corners.
no, there are none, Arch.
Can you find one?
That's a bar down there.
Really cool.
That's the main area.
Wow.
Imagine that as an airport terminal.
Yeah, I have a picture a little later showing you what the ticket booths were like, the ticket area.
I never saw it when it was an airport.
No, I didn't either. And of course, it would have been really busy,
Yeah.
We were here late in the evening, maybe, or even early night. But there's still people there. And ideally, it would have been great to been able to wander around with nobody there. The people kind of give it a little perspective. And I tried to hide some a bit, but I didn't take anybody out. What's there is there.
No, I like the people in the shot.
Well, it does show the use of things, Mark. Yeah.
It's I think it would be too sterile without people.
Yeah,
It's still pretty damn cool.
Love it.
There's a lot of red.
Oh, so that's what that red was. This.
Yeah. That seating area.
That's really neat.
And again, you would never see this in an airport now.
Well, nobody would want to spend the money on the fixtures.
They spent plenty of money redoing this, I'm sure. Again, like another seating area. That plane that's out there is an old propeller-driven Constellation.
The Connie,
Yeah. And there's a bar inside there.
Oh, really?
And it didn't really fit with the theme that I was trying to show here, but I did include a picture of the bar inside this airplane. And then the purple area there, that's an ice skating rink.
Huh.
Oh.
And the hotel is basically back there behind it.
Wow.
So more angles and colors and
curves and yeah.
Looks like a face.
Big lips.
I see a face.
Yeah, right here, looking right at you.
My God, it's a face. There's the hat.
Yeah, eyes.
Eyeballs.
I like the guy on the right.
You know, I had a couple of these, Dave, and that was the one that he was in, and that seemed to be the best one too.
You know,
He looks like a bouncer.
well, it looks like a bouncer, but it's also a reason to look to the back of the picture.
Well, you see right behind him, those are phones.
Oh,
Yeah.
Phones.
Pay
Oh,
phones.
What?
payphones.
1962 to call.
that's cool.
It was 10 cents, by the way. And,
Oh,
and
really?
actually, it's still 10 cents to use them.
Wow.
Yeah, there's the sign there.
They were functional?
Yeah, they
No
were.
kidding.
Yeah. You know, nobody messed with anything in here. And that's one thing about it. It was treated very well. I saw a couple stains and this and that, but nothing like what an airport normally looks like. And of course, again, this is a hotel now.
Ooh.
Everything's plastic. It's, you know, you're talking 1962 here.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
get
like this, the end of the railing. And
You know,
the
Jen, the railings were really a big
Wow.
part of this. I wanted to include a couple others that the railings are just curved the way they are. And then you see how there's uprights and then there's no uprights.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
and then there's all spread out uprights. So whatever he was thinking back then. You see, there's also a guy peeking out behind that curve right there.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't.
So Garen, just your process here, were you traveling and you had your camera and you saw this?
Yes.
Is like, so you're traveling with your camera slung over your shoulder
Always.
and you would say to your wife, oh, stop for a minute, I see something.
Oh yeah. You
You
don't
don't
want to
do
travel.
that?
You don't want to travel with me. I'm a pain in the ass to travel with.
I do that too. I thought everybody did that takes pictures.
Yeah. Well,
That's my wife crazy.
You look like a tourist. You guys are tourists.
yeah. It's just one of, you know, I would drive myself nuts if I didn't have my camera and I saw things like this.
Mm-hmm.
I would really hate it. So,
Do you,
like you had to
still,
go
do you
back.
still do you
Well-
still do that?
what was that?
Do you still walk around and travel with your camera on your shoulder, like in an
Absolutely.
airport? Yeah.
This was just January. So yeah, I'm still doing
Okay.
it. And
So is it a smallish camera, a mirrorless, or a micro four thirds? What is that?
no, I mean, it's a 5D, I think Mark IV. I switched.
Oh, big.
It's another part of my history because I started out in Nikons. All those
Mhm.
black and whites in the beginning were all Nikons that
Mm-hmm.
my brother lent me to do that trip with.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a 50 millimeter and a 135. So
Mhm.
all of those were basically were 50 millimeter
Uh-huh.
lenses. Now, and the odd thing about this airport shoot is I'm on this. We were going to Hanoi, going to Vietnam.
Mhm.
And I was pretty much determined, you know, I took a big bag before, several lenses, a couple of bodies, you know, flash, this and that. And it was just getting too cumbersome. And I knew we were going to be doing a lot of walking.
Uh-huh.
So I determined that I said, I'm going to just take one body, one lens. And of course, it's a little easier nowadays because of the great zooms they have, you know. And my go-to lens is a 24 to 105. I think it's a 2.8 that Canon.
So now,
I love that lens. I pretty much have it on all the time. And so I'm getting ready for this trip, and I, you know, went through because I wasn't taking my big bag. I had to make sure I had the battery, the charger, the brush, that, you know, all these little things that are in the bag that you take for granted and can get to when you need them, but things that you probably or might need, but, you know, had to pack differently and have with you. So I'm all just spending all my time trying to make sure I had the right pieces with me, the right equipment. And I had been shooting some stuff around the house and, changing lenses and that sort of thing. So I put everything in the bag, a small shoulder bag, and go off on, this trip. I'm walking up to this terminal and taking that first shot and realizing that what I have on is a 17 to 35.
Oh, crap.
Oh,
So I did this whole shoot and the rest of the vacation with one 17 to 35.
That's still
Wow.
a good lens, though. That's a
And
great
it's a great lens.
Yeah.
But usually I use the longer side of things
35.
regularly, especially with people and things like that,
Mhm.
But I didn't have it with me. So it was a bit of a lesson in life hands you lemons, make some lemonade here. And so the rest of the trip, I had one lens with me, and that was it, 17 to 35. I felt
Wow.
kind of dumb. I had all the equipment I needed except for the right lens.
Aw.
you made lemonade out of it.
I
Yeah.
tried to do that.
This
And,
was the right lens for this photo.
yeah, it was the right lens for this terminal too.
Right.
Elliot asked a interesting question, and I didn't notice it. Could you play Twister on the wall, or is that just art?
No, that was, I think, part of the mid-century features that they had going on there.
It wasn't the real thing.
No. It was, again, this was more like a museum than anything.
And where was this airport?
This is JFK up in New York.
Wait,
Well, it's
really?
attached to JFK.
Yeah. When
This is,
TWA was in business, they built this just not long before they went out of business.
right.
Okay.
That's right.
Ain't
That
the-
was what, mid-60s?
62.
62. Okay.
Yeah, and you can see, back in the back there, that's where the departures and arrivals are and all that. That white stand with the black screen. But
Oh,
again,
yeah.
It's a gorgeous
White.
building.
It's like the Jetsons. And I think my mother had those tables or those chairs in her kitchen table, in her kitchen for like 30 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
And they were plastic.
They're plastic. Everything's plastic.
Get rid of it.
I have one word for you, boy. Plastics.
Plastics.
Yeah, The Graduate.
The Graduate.
Yep. Dustin Hoffman.
This was another, you can see those railings in the background going down the stairs.
Wow.
Again, just adding to this whole feeling of this building and the curves and all. And then these lights in the foreground, those were the kind of egg crate lights, with, they have them in, well, we might use them
Yeah.
direct
Yeah.
light on one
Right.
of our soft boxes or something.
Yeah, I have some in my studio.
Yeah, and so that was the lighting, and that was all up lighting, and there was a variety of lighting. The one up at the top, or the round one at the top, they were all indirect, bounced off of these round white things. I don't know how this guy put this thing together, but it's like a hobbit house,
Who was the architect of this building?
Eero Saarinen?
Aerosmith.
St. Louis Arch,
Oh, okay. Wow.
famous Finnish or whatever he was.
Inish.
I love this picture.
No kidding.
And again in the background, that's the phone set back there.
Oh yeah, the phone booth. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Carolyn was talking about consistent and having a lot of images of one kind of theme. Gee,
Well, this does go that way. That's true.
it sure does.
Right.
Usually I'm walking along the street and see 12 different things, but this had a little bit of continuity to it.
It sure does. Yeah.
And your accidental lens turned out to be perfect.
Yeah, it was I would have wished I had it for this if I hadn't had it with me. So here, you're allowed, this is not an active area here as far as planes go. So you're allowed out, walking around, going whatever.
Wow.
And that's what this terminal looks like from the other side. from as opposed to the front side that I showed you in the first picture.
You know, imagine rolling up to that in 1963 when
Yeah.
you're on a plane and you roll up to that.
It's hard to imagine.
Part of the story, and I'll show you in a couple here, is well, here's the inside of the bar.
Oh,
So
is that cool?
You walk up the steps, and you know, just like you used to, and there's your bar right there.
Yeah. Couldn't use it today.
Oh,
This is the ticketing area on the left. Is that elegant or what?
Wow.
Very.
And then the pictures on the right, this is what I was alluding to. There are all these pictures of people, really famous people getting off of TWA planes. And you know they're TWA because they're walking down that same gangplank there, you know, the steps with TWA written on it. And it's the Beatles, and it's Steve McQueen and Frank Sinatra and Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it was just really cool. And of course, you know, I knew those people. Not everybody of every age does, but it was really
pattern of the
thick.
frames.
Well, yeah, because in that period,
I mean, the patterns of how they're hung repeats. Two,
Yeah.
one, then
And
one.
that's right.
yeah, that's right. Very good.
You know, there's a sort of an almost Gaudian sense to this place. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Gaudi?
Yeah.
Yeah, things are like, you know, big balloons.
Right. Well,
It's like
Gaudi did a lot with moving spaces, shapes, and a lot of this is full of this sort of
Yeah.
curvy.
Yeah, very curvy.
Very
Right.
curvy, yeah.
I can see that.
But why?
And Elliot asked, did you stay at the hotel or do you just walk through that night?
We were not staying because we were flying out that night. We just had like a 5 or 6 hour layover, so able to go over here. This is separate, and you got to take like a bus or a train over from the actual airport to get here. So no, we did not stay here. We're coming to the end here. This is just more red and white. This time with a carpet down there that gave a little different contrast. And then you got John's shoe shine here. And again, all that where you sit with the floor, everything is penny rounds, little tiles, little round tiles.
Yeah.
Was that original?
This is original, yeah.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. That's the reason I wasn't good. Again, it's a little different than some of the others I'm showing here, but this just gave me a kick. So I wanted to include it.
Most people wouldn't know what the hell that is these days.
Well, that was another thing too, Mark. You know, it's like, this is, again, museum quality stuff.
Yeah. When's the last time you had your shoes shine?
That's the end of the pictures that I put together for this.
Well, you know what, Garen? Thanks a lot. Now what am I going to do next week? I can't beat this, man.
This is really wonderful stuff.
Fly us around town.
where does the
Thanks
applause?
so much. I really appreciate that because, you know, you're never really quite sure how things are going to be.
There's 2 or 3 images there I want copies of for sure.
Right. Me too. Definitely.
We can have our own fundraiser like national.
If anybody wants to run back on anything, let me know. But I think we've probably taken up enough of your time. But
Oh, no,
I'd
not at
revisit
all.
the arches one more time.
Oh, the arches in, not Spain, was it?
It's like the first
Italy.
or
France?
second image. The first
Spain
They're
or
in
France?
Italy.
the black and whites. Yeah,
Italy.
okay.
Mhm. I think it was about your third image, right?
It was pretty early on.
It was number 2 or number 3. Just, there we go.
There, bingo.
Mhm.
Then I
Oh,
want that picture.
wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, let's just stare at this for a while.
Okay.
Wait. I got a better idea. Get my camera out.
Get a selfie.
Camera photo. Hey, wait, a copyright infringement right there.
This
Hey,
screenshot.
I'm flattered. That's okay.
My God, I just love that.
Really, the point I wanted to make too here is that, you know, we all do regular work. If you want to see some of the other stuff, you can go on the website. But this is the stuff that I like. these black and whites were the things that just got me hooked on photography. You know, I had no idea back then that I would be able to produce something that I really liked and treasured, really. I've still got these negatives. I have them in, you know, in the way we used to put them would be a page,
And the contact sheet.
contact sheet, and then a page of the negative page that goes with them right to it on a 3-ring binder.
Yep.
Or
Right.
a Patterson 4-ring binder that didn't fit any other thing at all. But, so, you know, you try to keep track of them over the years. And of course, sometimes that's not easy. And there's 1 or 2 that I have lost that I continue to look for. You know, it doesn't matter that I have all these others. There's a couple that I really miss. So again, the point is, you know, not only can you get a lot of pleasure out of just doing your personal work, but some of it, like the book cover, you know, actually you can get some money out of, you know.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you for sharing.